The 10 most famous works of art by Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci is one of the most influential artists in history, known for his masterpieces of painting, sculpture, and engineering. Throughout his life, da Vinci produced a wealth of amazing work, many of which have survived to this day and are considered some of the most iconic works of Western art. In this video, we'll explore da Vinci's 10 most iconic works, discover his innovative techniques, his unique style, and the story behind each piece. Number 10. The Battle of Anghiari. The Battle of Anghiari is a lost work of art that was painted by Leonardo da Vinci in the 16th century. Although the work itself has not survived, its influence and legacy continue to be the subject of fascination and study for art historians and culture lovers around the world. The painting was originally commissioned by the Florentine government to decorate the Hall of the 500 in the Palazzo Vecchio in Florence. The work was to depict Florence's victory over Milan at the Battle of Anghiari in 1440. The work was inspired by a 15th-century fresco already in the Palazzo Vecchio, Paolo Uccello's Battle of San Romano, which is considered to be an early example of the Italian Renaissance style. Leonardo da Vinci began work on the work in 1503, and it is known that he finished it in 1506. The painting was done with a mixed technique, using oil and tempera on a fresh plaster base. This technique, known as dry fresco, allowed Leonardo to work the painting with greater detail and perfection, resulting in an exceptionally detailed and vibrant work. The Battle of Anghiari stands out for its complexity and depth. The painting depicts the intensity and chaos of the battle with impressive skill, showing soldiers and horses entangled in frantic fighting. The soldiers' faces and their expressions capture a range of emotions, from anger to fear and confusion. In addition, the painting features a number of symbolic elements, including the use of animals to represent the different sides of the battle and the inclusion of religious imagery that suggests that God is on the side of Florence. Despite its importance and fame, the Battle of Anghiari has been the subject of controversy and mystery since its inception. Although the painting is known to have been completed, it has never been found and has been considered a lost work since the 16th century. It has been speculated that the painting is located behind a wall in the Palazzo Vecchio, leading to numerous attempts to discover and recover the work. The influence of the Battle of Anghiari on popular culture has been extensive. Artists around the world have created their own versions of the work, and it has been the subject of literary works, films, and stage plays. The Battle of Anghiari is also a symbol of the creativity and genius of Leonardo da Vinci, whose skill as an artist and scientist continues to be admired and studied today. In short, the Battle of Anghiari is a lost Leonardo da Vinci masterpiece that has left an indelible mark on art history. The painting depicts the intensity and complexity of the battle in a strikingly realistic and detailed manner, demonstrating Leonardo's unparalleled skill as an artist. Although the work itself has disappeared, its legacy remains the subject of fascination and speculation, and its influence on popular culture and art history is undeniable. The Battle of Anghiari has inspired artists around the world and continues to be a subject of debate and controversy, as the search for the lost work has continued for centuries. The technique used by Leonardo da Vinci in painting the Battle of Anghiari, known as dry fresco, was innovative in his time and allowed him to work with unmatched precision and detail. This technique involves painting on a layer of fresh plaster, but instead of doing it when it's wet, you wait for it to dry so you can work more freely. Although this technique has been used by other artists over the centuries, Leonardo's ability to use it at the Battle of Anghiari remains impressive. In addition to its exceptional technique, the Battle of Anghiari is notable for its complexity and depth. The work is a vivid and exciting representation of the fighting and the intensity of the battle, and it presents a number of symbolic elements that make it even more fascinating. The animals used to represent different sides of the battle, for example, are a subtle but effective touch that reinforce the idea that the painting is more than just a representation of the battle itself. It has also been noted that the inclusion of religious imagery in the painting suggests that God is on the side of Florence, reflecting the importance of religion in the life and culture of the time. Although the Battle of Anghiari is long gone, its legacy continues in popular culture and art history. The work has been the subject of much research, theory, and speculation, and has inspired artists around the world. Even if the original painting is never found, its importance and place in art history are assured, and its influence will continue to be felt for centuries. Number 9. The Virgin and Child with Saint John. The Madonna and Child with Saint John is one of Leonardo da Vinci's most beautiful and significant works of art. Painted in oil on a wooden panel, this work shows the Virgin Mary holding the child Jesus on her lap while Saint John, Jesus' cousin, watches in awe and reverence. The painting is known for its innovative composition and impeccable technique. The attention to detail is evident in every element of the work, from the delicate and lifelike hands of the Virgin and Child, to the feathers on the wings of San Juanito. Leonardo's ability to capture the lightness and softness of the characters' skin tones and clothing is amazing. The painting is full of symbolism. The Virgin Mary is a symbol of maternal love and religious devotion, while the child Jesus represents innocence and divinity. San Juanito, for his part, represents humility and obedience. Together, these characters create a powerful image of unity, protection, and guidance. The work was painted around the year 1499, during the period when Leonardo worked at the court of Ludovico Sforza in Milan. At that time, the Renaissance was in full swing, and the search for beauty and perfection was the main goal of many artists. Leonardo da Vinci was one of the most important artists of this movement, and his work is a testament to his ability to combine technique and emotion in his paintings. The Madonna and Child with Saint John is one of Leonardo da Vinci's best-known and best-loved works of art. It has become a symbol of religious devotion and the beauty of Renaissance art. His influence stretches through the centuries and continues to inspire artists and viewers alike. Number 8. La Belle Ferronniere. La Belle Ferronniere is a work of art that was created by the famous Italian Renaissance artist, Leonardo da Vinci, around the year 1490. This painting is a portrait of an unknown woman, dressed in elegant Renaissance attire and with an ornament on her head known as a ferronniere. The painting is considered one of the most beautiful and enigmatic works of art by Leonardo da Vinci. Although the identity of the woman portrayed is unknown, many have suggested that she could be Lucrezia Crivelli, a mistress of the Duke of Milan, Ludovico Sforza, who was one of da Vinci's patrons. However, this theory has not been confirmed and is still the subject of debate among art historians. La Belle Ferronniere is an oil painting on poplar panel, measuring approximately 62 by 44 centimeters. In the painting, the woman is represented in profile, looking to the left. Her head is tilted slightly downward and her expression is enigmatic, suggesting that Leonardo da Vinci was interested in depicting not only the physical beauty, but also the inner complexity of his sitter. The dress that the woman wears in the painting is a masterpiece of the technique of detail representation. The fabric appears to have a smooth, silky texture, with graceful folds and carefully placed shadows that suggest the depth and shape of the body. The adornment on the woman's head is also a work of art in itself, with a golden light that stands out against the dark background. The painting is also notable for da Vinci's masterful use of the technique known as sfumato, which involves the gradual blending of edges to create smooth transitions between color tones. This technique gives the painting a soft, diffused appearance, helping to heighten the sense of mystery that surrounds the woman portrayed. In conclusion, La Belle Ferronniere is a fascinating and mysterious work of art that has captivated art lovers for centuries. Leonardo da Vinci's ability to capture not only the physical beauty, but also the inner complexity of his sitter, is what makes this painting so memorable. His sfumato technique and his depiction of textile details are examples of da Vinci's artistic genius and make this artwork one of the most important and valuable in Western art history. Number 7. The Virgin and Child with Saint Anne. The Virgin and Child with Saint Anne artwork is one of the most famous and revered pieces by Leonardo da Vinci, one of the most influential and innovative artists in art history. This painting, also known as the Holy Trinity, is a prominent example of the 15th century Italian Renaissance style and is noted for its realistic and emotional depiction of holy characters. The painting shows the Virgin Mary seated on the lap of her mother, Saint Anne, holding the baby Jesus on her lap. The composition is remarkable for its balance and harmony, with the characters arranged in a perfect triangle that seems to float in the air. Light and shadow are masterfully used to give depth and dimension to the scene, and the minute details in the characters' clothing and facial expressions convey great emotion and humanity. One of the most prominent features of this artwork is the use of sfumato, a painting technique that Leonardo da Vinci developed and perfected throughout his career. Sfumato refers to the soft, gradual blurring of contours, creating a mysterious, blurry effect. In The Virgin and Child with Saint Anne, sfumato is used to soften the lines and edges of the figures, creating a sense of smoothness and delicacy that is typical of Leonardo's work. Another outstanding aspect of the painting is the psychological depth that Leonardo da Vinci manages to give to the characters. Unlike the stereotypical and often idealized depictions of the Virgin and saints in earlier religious painting, here we see Mary, Anne, and Jesus as concrete, emotional figures, with facial expressions that convey love, devotion, and tenderness. This realistic, human representation of sacred characters became a hallmark of Renaissance art and had an enormous influence on later generations of artists. In conclusion, The Virgin and Child with Saint Anne is a masterpiece of Renaissance art, combining a masterful technique, a balanced and emotional composition, and a psychological depth that reveals the humanity of the sacred characters. This painting is an outstanding example of Leonardo da Vinci's skill and genius and one of the most influential works of art in history. Number 6. The Adoration of the Magi. The Adoration of the Magi is one of the most outstanding works of Leonardo da Vinci, one of the most famous and recognized artists in the history of art. This oil painting on panel was created in the year 1481 and is currently in the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, Italy. The work represents the biblical scene of the Adoration of the Magi, in which the Magi, who had followed a star to Bethlehem, arrived to adore the newborn Jesus. The painting shows the Magi kneeling before the baby Jesus, while he is supported by the Virgin Mary. Saint Joseph stands behind them, watching the scene in amazement. What distinguishes the Adoration of the Magi is its complexity and detail. Leonardo da Vinci is known for being an obsessive perfectionist, and this is reflected in his work. In the painting, you can appreciate a large number of carefully cared elements and details, from the clothing of the characters to the textures of the rocks and the vegetation in the background of the scene. The composition of the painting is also very interesting. The characters are arranged in a semicircle, which creates a sense of movement and depth. In addition, the figure of Jesus is the center of the work, surrounded by the wise men who adore him, which highlights his importance in the scene. Another notable aspect of the Adoration of the Magi is the use of light and shadow. Leonardo da Vinci was an expert in the chiaroscuro technique, which consists of strongly contrasting light and shadow to create dramatic effects. In the painting, you can see how the light illuminates the face of the baby Jesus, creating a halo effect that highlights it even more. As for the symbology, the painting contains numerous details that have a deep meaning. For example, The star that the Magi followed to Bethlehem can be seen in the sky behind them. In addition, the gifts that the Magi offer to the baby Jesus symbolize his divinity. Gold represents his royalty, incense his holiness, and myrrh represents his sacrifice. In short, the Adoration of the Magi is a masterpiece of the Italian Renaissance that reflects the genius of Leonardo da Vinci as an artist and obsessive perfectionist. Its intricacy, detail, and symbolism make it a fascinating painting to contemplate and study, and it remains one of the most valued and admired works in the art world. Number 5. Saint John the Baptist. The artwork Saint John the Baptist, by Leonardo da Vinci, is a piece of Renaissance art dating from the 16th century. It is an oil-on panel, which represents Saint John the Baptist in a landscape of wild nature. The figure of Saint John the Baptist appears in the center of the composition, in a pensive and contemplative attitude, with his left arm resting on a cross and his right hand on his heart. His gaze is deep and directed towards the viewer, conveying a sense of serenity and inner peace. The figure of Saint John the Baptist is rendered in great detail and realism, demonstrating Leonardo da Vinci's technical skill. The folds of his clothes, his beard, and his hair, as well as the texture of his skin, are drawn with great precision and finesse. The landscape that surrounds San Juan Bautista is equally impressive. Nature is represented in a very realistic way, with rocks, bushes, and trees that intertwine in a harmonious composition. In the background, you can see a valley with a river and a walled city. The artwork Saint John the Baptist by Leonardo da Vinci is considered one of the most important works of the Italian Renaissance, as it combines formal beauty and religious symbolism in an exceptional way. The figure of Saint John the Baptist is a symbol of the Christian faith and the renunciation of the material world, but at the same time it is a human figure, with deep emotions and thoughts. The work also shows Leonardo da Vinci's fascination with nature and the relationship between humans and the environment. The landscape in which San Juan Bautista is located is a reflection of the natural beauty of Tuscany, the region in which the artist lived and worked for much of his life. In conclusion, the artwork Saint John the Baptist by Leonardo da Vinci is an exceptional piece of art that combines formal beauty, religious symbolism, and fascination with nature. It is a display of the technical and creative skill of one of the most important artists of the Italian Renaissance, and an expression of the cultural and spiritual values of his time. Number 4. The Virgin of the Rocks. The Virgin of the Rocks is a work of art by the renowned Italian artist and inventor Leonardo da Vinci. It is a painting that represents a religious scene, specifically the Adoration of the Virgin Mary by Saint John the Baptist and the child Jesus Christ. The painting is one of Leonardo's most famous works, and is considered by many critics to be one of the most beautiful and enigmatic in the history of art. The painting exists in two versions. One is in the National Gallery in London, while the other is in the Louvre in Paris. Both versions are very similar in composition and theme, although they do have some subtle differences in detail. The London version was painted around 1483 to 1486, while the Paris version was created around 1495 to 1508. The painting presents a dramatic, mountainous landscape that surrounds the central characters, the Virgin Mary and the saints. Leonardo creates a mysterious and evocative environment through the use of light and shadow, and meticulously worked details. The overall effect is one of an ethereal and serene environment, suggesting a sense of mystery and spirituality. The composition of the work is very symmetrical, with the figure of the Virgin Mary in the center of the image, flanked by the two saints. The characters are arranged in such a way that they form a perfect triangle, which is repeated in the landscapes behind them. This design creates a feeling of harmony and balance throughout the image. The Virgin Mary is depicted in a very naturalistic way, with a realistic and warm human appearance. Her face is serene and calm, while her clothing is detailed and luxurious, suggesting her importance and holiness. Saint John the Baptist and the child Jesus Christ are also painted with great detail and realism, with a calm and serene presence. The highlight of the work, however, is Leonardo's use of light and shadow. The painting presents a very strong chiaroscuro effect, in which the characters and landscapes are illuminated by a mysterious and almost supernatural light, which seems to emanate from the painting itself. This technique creates a sense of depth and mystery throughout the work, which continues to fascinate viewers to this day. In short, The Virgin of the Rocks is an exceptionally beautiful and enigmatic work of art, combining realism with mysticism and mystery. The painting showcases Leonardo da Vinci's exceptional skill as an artist and his ability to create a work of art that continues to impress viewers even centuries after his creation. It is a work that is definitely worth seeing in person to appreciate its beauty and its magic. Number 3. The Annunciation. The Annunciation, painted by the Renaissance genius Leonardo da Vinci around 1472 to 1475, is one of the most famous and outstanding works of art in history. The painting represents the moment when the angel Gabriel appears to the Virgin Mary to announce that she will give birth to the Son of God. In the work, we see the Virgin Mary kneeling in an austere interior, with an open book on her lap. Her posture is serene and meditative, while her face reflects a mixture of surprise and humility. Behind her, the angel Gabriel, dressed in a green and gold tunic, approaches reverently and announces the divine message to her. The painting is an outstanding example of Leonardo da Vinci's technical skills. The details of the clothing, architecture, and decorations are meticulous and realistic, creating a sense of depth and realism in the work. The colors are soft and delicate, with soft hues and pastel shades contributing to the atmosphere of tranquility and contemplation. In addition to its technical quality, the Annunciation is notable for the way Leonardo da Vinci incorporates symbolism into the work. The book on the Virgin Mary's lap symbolizes divine wisdom, while the fleur-de-lis in the background is a symbol of the Virgin Mary's royalty. The garden behind the Virgin Mary symbolizes the Garden of Eden, and the depiction of the angel Gabriel as a beautiful and delicate youth suggests his purity and his role as a divine messenger. Overall, the Annunciation is a magnificent and moving work of art that demonstrates Leonardo da Vinci's talent as an artist and his ability to create works that are both technically impressive and spiritually and symbolically significant. The work remains one of the best-known and most admired paintings of the Renaissance, and its beauty and depth continue to captivate viewers around the world. Number 2. The Last Supper. The Last Supper is one of the most iconic works of art of the Renaissance and one of the most famous paintings by Leonardo da Vinci. This masterpiece is located in the refectory of the monastery of Santa Maria delle Grazie in Milan, Italy. The painting represents the moment when Jesus Christ announces to his disciples that one of them will betray him. The painting was commissioned by Ludovico Sforza, Duke of Milan, in 1495 and completed in 1498. The Last Supper is a fresco mural measuring approximately 4.6 meters high by 8.8 meters wide. The fresco technique involves the application of pigments onto a damp wall, causing the colors to blend with the plaster and blend with the wall surface. The composition of the work is very impressive. In the center of the painting is Jesus Christ, surrounded by his 12 disciples. The characters are arranged in 3 groups of 4, which creates a sense of depth and perspective in the work. Jesus Christ is the focal point of the painting, and his figure is slightly larger than that of his disciples. Each of the disciples has a unique expression that reflects his personality and emotions at the time. Leonardo da Vinci captured in great detail the surprise, dismay, and confusion the disciples feel upon hearing the words of Jesus Christ. In particular, the figure of Judas Iscariot, who will betray Jesus, is easily recognizable by his suspicious position and attitude. In addition to the composition, the technique and the precision in the representation of the characters, the Last Supper is also known for its symbolism. Each of the elements in the painting has a specific meaning. For example, the bread and wine on the table represent the body and blood of Christ, and the light coming through the window behind Christ symbolizes Jesus' divinity. The Last Supper has been the subject of many studies and interpretations over the years. It has been said that the painting reflects the transition between the ancient and the modern world, and that it is a reflection on human nature and betrayal. The work has also been considered a criticism of the Catholic Church and its leaders for their hypocrisy and corruption. Although the Last Supper has undergone restoration and damage over the years, it is still considered one of the most important works of art in history. The painting has inspired artists and writers for centuries and has been the subject of numerous reproductions and adaptations in different media. In short, Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper is an exceptional work of art in terms of technique, composition, and symbolism. It is a priceless treasure of art history and continues to inspire and fascinate current and future generations. Number 1. The Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa, also known as La Gioconda, is one of the most famous and iconic works of art of all time. The painting was created by Italian artist Leonardo da Vinci in the 16th century and is known for its enigmatic smile, sfumato technique, and complex composition. The Mona Lisa is an oil-on poplar panel, measuring approximately 77 by 53 centimeters. It was painted between 1503 and 1506 in Florence, Italy, and represents a serene-looking woman, with a slight smile on her lips and a direct gaze towards the viewer. The figure is seated on a throne and appears in an imaginary landscape with mountains and water. One of the most interesting aspects of the Mona Lisa is her sfumato technique, which refers to the technique of blurring the edges of objects to create a blurry, soft effect on the painting. This technique is used to create the illusion of depth and to smooth transitions between shadows and highlights in the painting. The Mona Lisa's smile is one of the most intriguing elements of the painting, having been the subject of numerous interpretations over the years. Some see it as an enigmatic smile, while others interpret it as a sad or melancholic smile. It has also been suggested that the smile may be the result of a technique in the painting itself, rather than an intentional expression by the subject. Another interesting element of the Mona Lisa is its complex composition. The figure is seated on a throne with a stone parapet in the foreground, which creates a sense of depth and perspective in the painting. Behind the figure, there is an imaginary landscape with mountains and water, which also contributes to the feeling of depth in the painting. The Mona Lisa has been the subject of numerous interpretations and theories over the years. It has been suggested that the figure could be a costumed self-portrait of Leonardo da Vinci, or that it could be a depiction of a Florentine merchant's wife named Lisa Gherardini. It has also been suggested that the painting might contain occult symbolism or that it might be an allegory for the humanist philosophy of the time. Regardless of its exact meaning, the Mona Lisa remains one of the most iconic works of art of all time. She has been the subject of numerous reproductions and tributes over the years, and her image has become a recognized cultural symbol throughout the world. The painting is currently in the Louvre Museum in Paris, France, where it is one of the main attractions for visitors.